right, great. So today I have my friend Greg Todd on, and Greg met me internet-wise. Our virtual worlds of PT collided on a message board, mainly because I talked and I was responding to something, and he saw a similarity in me, and I think that's really cool because you guys that follow me might know, I'm always talking about feminine power and feminine leadership, and really it's not so much, I think, that we're not being heard. It's that sometimes we need to speak up to even go beyond us being a girl or being a woman. I really felt like Greg was just connecting with me as somebody he agreed with or somebody that's speaking, his language or understanding him. And so we developed a friendship. And so when I wanted to do this show on, leadership and lifestyle and just, living that, who we are, one of the first people I thought of in expanding my goddess chats out of the female to female role was Greg Todd. So I'm super, super happy that you're here with us, Greg. Greg, why don't you give people who don't know who Greg Todd is? I do have a little bit of an audience outside of the PT world, or if they've been under a rock in the PT world, a little synopsis of who you are and what you're doing right now in your awesomeness of your career as a health leader.
Thank you so much for the introduction. So I've been a physical therapist for the past 16 and a half years. I like to put the half in there, man, because I want to own up to all of it. So 16 and a half years, I've been a physical therapist. I have always had a passion for helping people. I love sports. I love bones, muscles, joints, and said, okay, I guess this is going to be for me. As life goes on, and I met this amazing lady, and I started to have a passion to spend as much time with her, and we started to procreate, and I have 4 kids, and I wanted to spend a lot of time with them as well. So unfortunately, I had some circumstances about 5 or 6 years after I opened up my own physical therapy business, some health circumstances, and it made me kind of look at life a little bit different. And I decided to grow my business to the point where it wasn't totally reliant on me, because I, just had, those moments where it was like, okay, what if I wasn't going to be around? Like, would I be super pumped and happy about, the way that my life is and how much time I've spent with my kids? And I realized that life can be very short. So I changed things a little bit, and I became, I guess, more of an entrepreneur, and not just solely focused as a clinician, so that I can spend more time with the people that I love the most. So I learned a lot of things that a lot of physical therapists don't know. And that's basically what I did. I learned a lot of things on how a business fully runs, and it's not just treating clients. There's a lot more to it. So I learned those things, and then I decided I'm going to teach people how to do these things. And I taught my staff first, and then they were catching on. And then people said, you really should teach other people as well. And so since then, I have created courses that have helped, that help physical therapists learn these things. And from it, it's just turned into this massive, I can't even take credit for it anymore. It's just turned into this crazy thing where now we have entrepreneurs all over the United States and all over the world at this point. I have students in Australia and, Bahamas and Israel, and it's crazy. The whole thing's nuts. But basically that's who I am. But at the end of the day, I'm just a dad. I'm a husband. I love my wife. I love my 4 kids. I love people. And I just try to show that every day, and it's crazy with all the things that's going on right now. I was just talking to my wife. It's like, look, all I can do is just continue to love people. That's all I want to do. I just want to love people and just take care of people. So that's who I am.
That's beautiful, Greg. And thank you so much for sharing. So many times I know that when I'm speaking to people, they kind of say who they are almost in what it is they do, not necessarily who they are. And I think it takes, I know your story is a little bit, like you said, getting sick and having that other story of what it is you're actually doing, maybe losing that title or losing that thing that was your identity for so long to really look in. And I know that's a level of vulnerability, but that's like beautiful, because I think I personally feel if more healthcare providers, more people in general, but definitely in healthcare, when you're trying to take care of other people and still see the people within the system or their diagnosis, that's so, so important. And it sounds like you brought that into your practice.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, look, I don't want to be known as Greg Todd, the physical therapist. I don't want to be known as only Greg Todd, the entrepreneur. I don't want to be known as, look, I'm Greg. Okay. I'm Greg, and I'm a lot of things. I'm different. Like, my kids don't care that I'm GT. Like, they don't care about that. Right. Okay. They don't care about they just like, Daddy, can you give me money for homecoming? Okay. Like, I mean, seriously, they don't care about those things. My patients don't care that I do Facebook Lives on business and entrepreneurship. All they want is the provider, right? They want that side of me, okay? My students don't really, they don't get jazzed up when I help someone, with their recovery from an Achilles tendon repair, but they want my help with taking their career to the next level. So right. I'm different people, and I'm Greg Todd, and there's a lot of things that God has allowed me to become through my trials, through the different things that I've gone through. And that's what you do. I'm Greg Todd, the servant. That's what I am. And there's different ways that I can serve people. And it's crazy. I don't know the stat like for sure with this, Lisa. And I know this is, but I heard with guys, with males, it's like when they retire, there's like this really high spike in death, in mortality, I think within a year of them retiring. And I think it's so sad, because I think so many people, male or female, they pigeonhole themselves into, this is what society tells me that I have to be, and this is where my worth should come from. And it's just not, well, at least for me, it's just not the case. There's just so many things, so many gifts that we all have, and we need to just share it. And it might be different things, but give everything you got, just share it with as many people as you can.
Right. And like, is that, so you were looking and expanding, because obviously that's just who you are. And I think a lot of people, at least in physical therapy, I think in healthcare, they come to it that way. I know there's been a little bit of a shift with it being a really great job, and then it being a really big bill and things like that, where there might've been a little change, but at our heart in healthcare, you did want to care. You did want to care. And then I think with the system and the payment thing, and forgetting sort of what you can do outside of who's going to pay you, that got a little murky. So was going online, like what made you think even to do that? Because I see you wearing your Kajabi Hero shirt, and I'm on Kajabi platform. And that was actually something we discovered like in talking, and we're like, oh, of course you're in Kajabi, like what made you even start to look there? Because I mean, now it's maybe we're opening the eyes of people, but it's not like there's a lot of healthcare providers on there. It's not like there's a lot of other health and wellness people, maybe somewhat of wellness fitness. They might be taking it because they've had platforms like traineries and some of these other things, but definitely not in healthcare, because they're scared, liability and all these other things, that restriction you're talking about. What do you think opened your, like, why did you even go there?
The answer is very clear. 2009. 2009 is what made me, even though I didn't start Kajabi until 2015, 2009 was a start of making me find Kajabi. So let me kind of just go back to that. 2009, I had just finished my 4th marathon in 2 years. Okay. I was out in San Francisco, did a San Francisco marathon, was on vacation with my wife and 3 kids at the time, spent about 9 days out there. And I remember coming back and just not feeling good. And at that time, Lisa, I was a consultant. I was a consultant helping. I've always been in blogging and stuff like that. Social media wasn't huge at that point, right? But I was using blogging, and I was using direct marketing from my blog on me being a marathoner to attract people. So I was starting to become, I'm not going to say I was a national name at that point, but people were finding me to help them with their marketing. Okay. So I was doing that, but the way I was doing it was getting on the phone with people. I get on the phone. Everything I would do was one-on-one. And then guess what happened? It was Labor Day weekend. I just told this story to someone yesterday. Labor Day weekend, we're at Reddington Beach. It's about 45 minutes south of here. We had condos down there. That's what we usually do. It's like our employee weekend, time. And I remember that Sunday when all the employees were going to come in that day, and we were going to do a cookout and whatnot. And my business partner and I had to go to the local supermarket to get all the stuff. And I remember I couldn't get out of bed. I could not get out of bed. Like my body was starting to just like something was wrong. I couldn't get up. I'm the type of dude, I get up at 5 a.m. I go running 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 miles. I couldn't get out of my bed. And it took everything. I remember they actually had to like carry me in the car. My partner was like, come on, get out of bed. Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? They had to carry me in the car, bring me to the supermarket. I'm like a zombie. I mean, like, I don't even get drunk or anything, but I guess this is how people feel when they have like they're hungover or something. Okay. Like, and the feeling never went away. So I got sick. And I remember the first thing I had to do when I got sick, and it was like my doctor said, hey, look, Greg, you basically have no immune system. It's almost like you have HIV without having HIV. It's like you have no immune system. Like your immune system's shot. We don't know if you have lupus. We don't know, like we don't exactly know what you have, but we just know that you have no immune system and you might not be able to treat patients in the way that you've been used to doing it. So the first thing I had to do was I let go of all my consulting accounts. I knew there had to be some big changes. And so I let go of all my consulting accounts, and I basically stopped exercising for a year and a half. When I went back to exercising and I signed up for a half marathon, I did it, started back my consulting accounts again, and I had 3 seizures in 4 days. This was in now 2011, 3 seizures in 4 days. And at that point, now it wasn't just let go of your consulting accounts, but it was also let go of maybe the business. Right? Okay. So I knew at that point, 2 strikes, right? I'm at 2 strikes now with this whole consulting thing. I knew at that point, there was no way I was ever going to do it the traditional way anymore.
Right.
I wasn't going to fly all over the country to go meet people and all the other stuff. I knew that if I was going to do it and people wanted my knowledge, I'm going to do it one time. I'm going to do it one time, and then you go and get the knowledge. And that's where when I saw Kajabi, which is just, and there's many other platforms too. Yeah. I mean, I drink the Kajabi Kool-Aid, okay? Yeah, but there's many other platforms as well. But I knew that it served my purpose, because you get to the point where you start to realize, look, if I'm not a clinician, and I mean, I'm not really treating patients that much anymore. I might treat one person a week, maybe. But my identity, I took it away from that. Like, I don't want to be known as just the clinician. I had 4 kids to take care of.
Right.
Like, I'm Greg, and I want to serve my wife and my kids and this and that. And this is the way I'm going to do it. And to be honest with you, I mean, it's worked out well. At the end of the day, if people want what you have, they will take it in whatever form you're willing to give it to them. They will. And so that's basically how it started. It started through my pain.
Yeah. And so much of it, right? Flipping the pain. And that's like literally my tagline with working with women, let's flip the pain and make it a passion point, because it's so hard, especially in chronic pain, as you know, them even getting out of that mindset, like, how is this a blessing? And it's not right now, but it will be. And that comes from faith. So like, I'm hearing that about you. I often wish, would it be so bad if there was some spirit med in the mindsets of our schooling in helping others in all professions, but definitely when you're dealing with pain and stress. And then would that stop us? Because we're burning out. I mean, healthcare providers are the 4th aim, because, you can't have a triple aim. You can't have change in healthcare if you have a bunch of sick people trying to help sick people. It just don't work.
It can't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yesterday at my office, this is great. So yesterday at my office, one of my students, he's been shadowing me from SSPT. He came down, he's shadowing me, and it's lunch break, and he sees all the staff, and they're all working out. They're all like sweating and just I mean, everybody's, he's like, this is unreal. I'm like, how can we, like, just think of what happens after you exercise? What you get endorphins. You feel amazing. You're practicing what you preach. So now the 1 o'clock clients are going to come in, or the 2 o'clock clients are to come in. Like, it's like we're living testimonies of it, right?
Right.
Like our level goes up. Conversely, most places, PTs are burned out. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not taking care of their bodies. They're eating like garbage, and they can't help people. People are like, how do you have so much energy? I take care of myself. That's why I have so much energy.
Not rocket science.
Like all my people have a lot of energy because we take care of ourselves. So it's this thing. And that's why I say, Lisa, we're not doing healthcare. We're doing sick care.
Right.
Like most people are doing, I know you aren't, but most people are doing sick care. We're helping sick people, but we're also sick. We're not really doing health. Like we're not trying to take care of people's health, especially as physical therapists. We're taking care of people when they're broken. And most people have no desire. Most physical don't have any desire to actually help you to maintain your wellness. Right? I mean, someone asked me this the other day and said, hey, well, Greg, if you start helping all these people, you won't have any patients. I'm like, if that's the mentality you have, that's a problem. Because
Right.
I know that, I mean, come on, are you serious? So the goal is for us to hurt people. The goal is for everyone to be sick. That's the goal. No, I mean, come on. There's enough people out there doing that I can do it the other way. And I'm sure I can do very well with
And there'll always be somebody needing help. I mean, it's just expanding that. And that's what I love about what you're doing with all your stuff, with, you know, PT builders and practice building them. I mean, you're building their practices by building them, you know,
Right.
giving them the permission. I mean, I feel like that's half what I do, even with my biz consulting. Like, I'm giving you the permission to be whoever the hell you want to be. As long as you feel, you know, you're working within, I mean, we can't be, you know, as licensed professionals, of course, we can't be, you know, doing things that are outside of our licensure, but there's a hell of a lot that's in our licensure that we're just choosing not to do.
Right.
Because it's not the norm. It's not the habit yet. But how's it going to be the habit if somebody doesn't start doing it?
I mean, there's so many things. I mean, we could make this an 8-hour interview I mean, this is like, we could just go on and on with this, but if you really think about it, I mean, if you think about it, there's so many pieces to it. We are all wonderfully made in the creator's image. We're all different. You're totally different than I am. We have a lot of things that we agree with, but we're so different. But what has happened, especially within our medical model that we're a part of, is that they're trying to make everyone the same. And that right there is just a problem within itself. And then on top of it, you know, they don't want to showcase, if you think about it, most physical therapists work for someone else, right? So these places, they have a business model. And how is their business model set up? Most of them are set up not reliant on the individuality and the differences of each clinician, what makes them special as a person. So it's their business model is, hey, let me see if I can create here. Let me call up Cigna. Let's see here. Cigna. Hey, yeah, right now you're paying us $70. Why don't we bring that down to 50 and we will just take your whole market. Okay, perfect. 50? Good deal. Bye. Okay. Right? Okay. Like that's it. So the business model is structured in a way where it's not elevating the people. It's not rewarding the individuality of the people, of the amazing clinicians, the person behind the person, right? We've got Lisa Holland over here who can help you with these, but this is what she's about. This is what her mission is. This is what her passions are. Then you've got Greg over here and he can help you as well, but this is what he believes and he likes to dance and he's this and he's, you know, rowdy and all that other stuff, right? Like we don't reward and we aren't showing people that who you are as an individual is what separates you.
Right. And so I think that's probably what the hardest thing is, to get healthcare providers in the mindset of marketing themselves. I mean, you know, we're talking about, you know, most hospitals, if you go on a hospital website, they'll show you the department. But unless you're a physician, you won't have your own little bubble there with your explanation, your schooling, or whatever. Nobody cares.
Nobody can, right? Exactly.
On that side, you know, you might care, but like, you know, and that frustrates me because being outside it, I'm looking sometimes to refer somebody because, believe it or not, even though I could do it, sometimes I choose to focus on some other things where my genius is. and not my excellence,
Right.
and let other people be in their excellence. And
Right.
and it's hard to research sometimes because you can't see the individual. So I'm like calling up it's like getting that piece of paper. Oh, you need a psychologist? Oh, here's all of our psychologists. What the hell does that mean?
Right.
And these are about relationships. I mean, that's what I'm hearing the most. It's like,
Right.
how can you harness the relationship and then just be a health leader? I mean, I feel like that's what I want to be. That's what healthcare 3.0, 4.0 is, being a health leader.
Right.
Whatever your letters are, be the health leader and use what you can do, because it really does get down to people's behaviors, doesn't it?
Right. I mean, that's really, you know what it is. And you know what? It really pisses me off the more that you say that, like where like they're not featured. I mean, just right there. If you look at most companies, if you look at the majority of companies, I want everyone to do this. Go look at the biggest companies out there, which are physical therapists working for hospitals and
Right.
physical therapists working for big private practice corporations. And look, they do not feature the person. So there is no emphasis on personal branding. There's zero emphasis on that. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem. So there is no reason for physical therapists to say, hey, I want to become better because it's going to help me in my career. Maybe you want to become better because you want to be a better wife or a better husband or a better father or a better mother. Okay, fine. But within your career, there is no reason to become better because they don't look at you as, wow, I'm here trying to showcase the individual, how they do for a DO or an MD. They don't do it. They don't do it.
And it's kind of silly because it's like, well, you get all your credentials and then it's like, is that going to pay me more if I go to this continuing ed? If I become a certified dry needler, if I become and so we sit and we fight about these things sometimes. And I'm like, hey, how about we take that collective energy, and and we've seen disciplines do this, and then we get angry at them, but they get together and they're like, why don't we look at like chiropractic is a perfect example. I personally had a chiropractor in my wellness center because she worked with functional medicine perspectives, and I was just getting into that, and that helped me, that we could talk together and she could order the tests because I can't order the tests. They can order the tests, but I can't. So it's like this backwards kind of thing, and understanding, why don't we just focus on areas that highlight us?
Right.
I mean, I think it's kind of, I once had a discussion with her, and she said it was a disadvantage because chiropractors, at least in our state of North Carolina, or I don't know if it's across the board, they can't work like together for another chiropractor, or they have to be in like a partnership. There's some rule where they can't. And I was like, oh my God, that's a blessing, because it made you think. It's kind of like personal trainers. You kind of have to, if everybody's doing personal training, why is it they know to come out and be like the personal trainer that's like showing themselves doing something, like even the runner physical therapist? Why aren't you highlighting? I think it's beautiful. Like you see people like, Zach Long with barbell physio and this and that, because he's into it. He's doing all of that.
Right.
Why do you think it's not so, like, why is it so hard to be out of the box for some? I know it's risk aversion and fear, but it's really healthcare. Like it's so.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. I think number one is, it's been a while since we've been in school. The two of us have been in school, but the truth is that, with me working with so many students now, they're just, telling me everything is about what you can't do, right? They're being trained. This is what you cannot do. And then you come out of school. So that's what you're learning in school, not what you can do, but it's more of this is what you can't do. Contraindications. Can't do this, can't do that. This is how do you protect your license? School is teaching you how to get the license by teaching you how to pass the exam, and school is teaching you how to protect your license. They're not teaching you how to expand your horizons. I think that's number one. Number two is most of the places, physical therapists on a whole, become employees. They're not employers. And I think for me, I've never had this entrepreneurial DNA. I always hear Gary Vaynerchuk talk about this, that you have to have this DNA. I don't have any damn DNA. I wanted to work 9 to 5. I wanted to have 2.5 kids. I wanted a white picket fence, and I wanted to have the nice little Sony Trinitron TV and watch TV. Okay, I wasn't no entrepreneur, but what I realized is that there was a consequence for me working for someone. Yes, it was nice to be able to get home at 6 o'clock, but the consequence was I couldn't help people beyond whatever they said. Whatever their business model was, that's what their business model was. So what has happened is that because you've been trained a certain way in school on what not to do and what things you have to do to protect your license, then you come out of school and 85% of us are working either for a hospital setting or we're working for someone, and usually it's a big conglomerate, deal. People have lost their creativity. Now, the interesting thing is that people are like, wow, so, hey, Greg, if I, listen to you or I take your course or this or that, whatever, so I have to become a business owner? Look, I'm not trying to make everybody become a business owner, but what I've realized is that if you don't have your own thing, it usually means that you have the handcuffs on you and you can't be creative.
Or even just like a platform, because I work, sometimes I'm working with women. I'm like, actually, I just want to get them out of analysis paralysis and maybe do something where they feel like they have a voice or have a vision. So maybe they could take your course or Aaron's course or
Right.
Paul's, but have some sort of vision going into that, because then you can't really use the information because you're sitting there, right, with your handcuffs on.
You have your handcuffs on.
This is a great dream for everyone else but me.
Right.
Thinking that it's going to you're going to wake up one day and be able to use all of this with a different, with that attitude. But I think that having that multiple revenue streams and things that we might have done that might, why is that unprofessional? Like because you're giving people options, like you use it, you like it, you're sharing it, like in different, like the exercise system or the platform, just because it's not you, and getting tied into that idea that there's only one way that's the right way to make your money, when in reality, if you just open up and just say, I got these letters after my name, but again, do I want to be a health leader or do I want to be manager? Do I want to be a health manager? Whatever level of health you're at, or am I actually trying to rise people up to not need me? Like you said, that's the scary thing. I think some people are like, well, what if they don't need me? Like deep stuff.
Yeah.
That's why the personal development is necessary.
Right.
And, in that so much.
But doesn't that come from a scarcity mindset? I mean, do we realize, I don't know if you can see this picture in back of me, but look at that stadium.
Yeah,
that's a stadium right there. You realize how many people are in this world? I mean, how many people, seriously, I can't, look, okay, here, let's just break down the numbers real quick, okay? Let's just do it. Let's just go ahead and do it. All right, so I'm looking at that picture there. That's about 80,000 people in that stadium, about 85,000 in that one, and about 90,000 in that one. Okay, all right. So we've got 80, 90, I don't know, what is that, like 270,000.
And they're probably not the same people.
They're not the same people. That's not a good point, Lisa. They're not the same people. But you know what? It's all from the same state. So that's Miami, that's Gainesville, and that's Tallahassee. Okay, all right. So there's a lot of people. All right, let me just kind of just give you a quick example. This is where I think people totally, it's a scarcity mindset. That's the issue that we're having. Okay, there's a lot of people in this world. That was my point in saying that. Number two, I take just my main flagship course, Smart Success PT, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And that course is a $2,000 course. And I have 200 people currently in that course. And basically we had to cap it off at 100 the last launch. Like I had to shut it off. So basically, as we move forward, we're going to have anywhere between 100 to 150 people for each launch. Okay. You could probably put the numbers together, audience. Okay. All right. It's a pretty nice living. Okay. That's one revenue stream for myself. The problem that most people think is they say, well, there's not enough people. No, look, those people don't need me anymore. They now have their practices. They're now doing their thing. The whole thing is that if you are consistent in your message, there are other people out there that are going to need you. Conversely, let's take that into a physical therapist. Today, as we're walking outside, remember, there's a lot of people, right? There's a lot of people. Look, 1 out of 100 will sprain their ankle. 2 out of 100 might wake up with back problems. Not everybody, but there's a lot of people. There's millions of people in the town that I live in. So the whole thing is that if you are consistent in your message, I can't take care of all those people. In my 16-year career, at my offices, all the people I've taken care of are not even all those people that were in that stadium on that one day.
Right.
I haven't even been able to do that in 16 and a half years combined.
Exactly. And if you're successful with your students and let's just say you change not only PT's mind, but like all of them. And like they come out and they're like taking Greg Todd courses in mindset in school or something. And they like come out and they all have it. Mission accomplished. And you will move on to whatever that is.
That's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is that at the end of the day, what are my intentions? My intentions are to change the way people think. Right? That's my intentions. My intentions aren't to show people how to do a cash-based practice. Aaron can do that. My intentions are to help females like achieve their goddess, mindset. You do that. You take care of that. Okay. Go to her. All right. My intentions are to help people change their mindset from what school was teaching you versus what works in the real world. And that's all I need to do.
Filling in that gap. Filling in that gap. And I love that because that's really, I think, like what the moral of the story is just look at where you can fill in that gap.
Right.
And there's your unique, I was like, oh, you take this course on unique, UVP, your unique value potential, whatever product or whatever. But the reality is just look in the mirror. And unless you're ready to look in the mirror, it's going to be really hard. And it's going to be really hard. And it may be that, yes, you want to stay in the job you're at, but you want to bring more to it so that you're fulfilled. Maybe you want to have a platform. Maybe, some voice that you have an Instagram and a following and you do some blogging because that's an outlet that you really like and you don't get to do it where you feel stable. And that's all we're talking about, but it just is, it's a really hard conversation. And like you said, we go on and on about it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, can you think, it's not even thinking out of the box. It's just, how do you feel in that box?
At the end of the day, I take someone like yourself, or you take myself, or just any other influencers in the field. And I believe that there's two things that really make us up. It's what we're proficient at and what our passion is. And what I have learned is this, with all the things that I told you in the beginning of the podcast, 2009 was kind of like my breaking point, and then having it again happen in 2011. What I've realized since then is that with regards to me serving people in a community, besides my family, serving people within a community, there are very few things that I'm super passionate about and that I'm really good at. So passion and proficiency. You find what those things are, and the goal in life is to just do that. It's to just do that. The things that I'm passionate about and the things that I'm really good at. And what I'm passionate about is helping people maintain and gain their wellness. I'm passionate about helping physical therapists get their heads out of their booty and learning like how to serve people properly in real life, in like the real world. And I'm passionate about my kids and my wife. Okay, that's really it. I have like no other passions. I mean, maybe a Netflix show here and there, maybe a little, but really I have no other real passions. That's all I'm passionate about. What am I good at? I'm good at talking. I'm good at talking. Like I can get on, I don't have to prepare for anything. I just like talking to normal people like me and you and whatnot. We just talk and whatnot, right? Easy stuff for me to do. I can do this all day long, okay? So that's what I've done. And I think that most people, unfortunately, because they're not in control of their destiny, they can't say, oh, I'm really passionate about this. I'm really good at this. And this is what I'm going to do. And all the other things, because the other things make the world go round and other things make the businesses run. But the other things I have other people help me with because I'm not really passionate about that. I think at the end of the day, I wish more physical therapists could be in a position, and not just physical therapists, anybody could be in a position where they are doing the things that they are passionate about and proficient in. That's the end game goal. That's the end game goal. And you're just doing that. And then you have a team or you have systems or you have technology help you with all the other things that you don't really care for, but it can make everything work. Because what we need is we need you. We need Lisa. We need Greg. We need Susie. We need Janet. We need those people that are made within their own way, that they're totally different than everyone else. They have a certain passion for something that is unmatched, that I could never match. and they are proficient at that thing, and we need them to do that. And I believe that's what will make this world a better place.
I agree. And if they're willing to do it, someone will be willing to receive it.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
believing in that.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Love it.
Yes.
So Greg, are your programs opening up at all to like is it going to stay with the PT profession? Is there an outlet for anything like that in there?
So breaking news. I mean, all of my stuff. Yes. You're actually the first. This is the first time I've actually said this, public, but basically I'm going to be launching SSPT. Is kind of like my baby, right? Yeah. And it's, and everything that I just said that I was just preaching to you is actually what I was doing. It's what I did too. I had 12 courses initially when I started all this. From the first course, I went from 1 to 12 in 5 months. Okay. And then I actually went from 12 to 3 over the next 6 months. And what I've realized is that there was one course, there was others that were more expensive, that were making me more money, but my passion was working with a certain group of people. Right. So I had to start to shut down all the other courses and said, I'm not taking any more enrollment in any of those courses. I'm just going to deal with this one and then the follow-up to that one. So I only have really 2 courses. Really, it's 2 now with a live event that I do every year, right? Mm-hmm. That I did it was actually my first time last year, and then that we'll go next year and just keep on going with that. So 2 courses and an event. Well, now what I'm going to be doing is, because a lot of people want to learn how to do what I do online and in the different ways that I do it. I do it for consulting for business, but I also have a health and fitness platform as well that has done very well. So in 2018, I'm going to be launching a new course that's showing you how to create an online business model, how to do it.
Cool.
And
awesome.
So it's going to be a combination of, I've been able to achieve, pretty well, status or whatever in 3 different businesses: a marketing agency online, fitness and wellness platform online, and then a consulting using my knowledge to help others online. And so because we've been able to hit those levels, I feel like, I can show people how to do this. So that's what I have in the works for 2018. And that will be open to anyone that has a passion for helping others and they want to be able to do it online, but they just don't know how to do it. Right. They don't know how to market it. They don't know how to create it. They don't know how to do all that stuff. I'm going to show them how I did all of this over the last 2 years.
Very cool. Because that's another thing I just think, like, taking the lines out sometimes and being able to, that bigger picture, like you said, serve.
Right.
And where that service brings you. And the moral of the story is, and he did it with the same letters after his name the whole time.
The whole time. The whole time.
Right? It's like just realizing, those should not be your cage. Those should be your freedom. I mean, I think I probably am similar to you in that, we kind of, I feel like I went in being like, hey, I started with athletic training. I actually started in fitness. Then I went to athletic. I was like, that athletic training is going to help me be better with the fitness. And then I'm like, if I had PT, that would be helping me with the this and the that. And if I had, my DPT, then I can play the game here. And it really, it was all the same dream. It was all the same idea. So thank you so much, Greg, for being in this goddess chat as a leading man, and helping hopefully my audience expand that idea of like, start thinking not just out of the box, because I think people think creative means I have to be like making something new, but like you said, taking the stuff that's there and just tweaking it.
Right. That's it.
Tweaking it and making it work. And thank you so much. So, where can they find you, Greg? Where can they find you when they want to keep up with things or get on your newsletter or find out more?
If you're on Facebook, it's facebook.com/the PT Builder. You can find me at Greg Todd, Greg Todd PT on Twitter, on Instagram. GregToddPT.com is my website. I have a podcast called The Hunt for Greatness, where I just try to help people level up. I just want people to be better. So that's really it. You can find me on any of those platforms. Drop me an email. Talk to Lisette. She'll tell you where I'm at. There you go. And yeah, that's really
I'll put a message to say you got somebody special for you.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Greg. And everyone, thanks so much for being here for another chat. And make sure that if you are feeling a little stifled, if you're feeling a little bit like you don't know what you're going to do with this career or these bills or something, please talk to one of us. We will get you in touch with a different reality, right?
Exactly.
All right, guys, take care. Have a great, wonderful day.